My name is Brian Best. I'm here with the wonderful and villainous Adam Gayton. This is Downloadable Opinions, Episode 4, our aftermath take of the Microsoft keynote.
Part 1 of 6 of our E3 presentations, and let me tell you, I have never crammed so much information in my head in one day in my entire life than I did yesterday.
It was definitely information overload with, I think it was about 4 keynote addresses, Microsoft, Ubisoft, EA, and Sony coming out with their entire keynote addresses for their E3 of 2012. But anyways, let's get right down into it. Microsoft debuting with, right out of the gate, live action trailer of Halo 4. This game looks amazing. Just all the CG and real life cutscenes basically meshed together, at least in the first little bit. I'm sure that's just a CG trailer for the stuff. But the actual gameplay of Halo 4 looks really just intense, lush jungles, really cool enemies, and just really spanning vistas. This is definitely a brand new take on the series from 343 Studios. Adam, what did you think of the actual gameplay of this?
Well, for starters, I haven't liked the Halo series since Halo 2, back when the original Xbox was still alive and kicking. Mm-hmm. This trailer actually piqued my interest just a little bit too, because like you said, it's a new take. The score was a little different. We weren't hearing the same orchestral crap that gets replayed in almost every level in every Halo game. Mm-hmm. The new enemies that are, I think, they're not organic, they said, so it's probably AI intelligence that we're dealing with this time around.
It's the Forerunners that are the enemies this time around, not the Covenant.
And I mean, the coolest thing I saw was Master Chief went to throw a grenade, and this one enemy literally grabbed it, spun it around, and whipped it back at him. That is AI at its finest. That's the kind of stuff we need, because you have to switch something up and challenge people a little more. It can't just be as simple as running guns a-blazing, spray, 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 whip a grenade here now and then, take out the 3 guys that randomly walk into it. This seems like it's going to be a game that will actually challenge you instead of it just being such a run-and-gun game. The only thing that I have against it so far is the fact that, being the way the games are now, we had to have Cortana show up, and of course, they've obviously modeled her a little bit better. You saw every little bit of her, and my first thought is, oh goody, they made her hotter. What a surprise.
She went up at least 2 cup sizes since the last game. You know what? Since Bungie has gone off to greener pastures with the new games, 343 Studios has definitely moved Halo right into its own. The Forerunners as a new enemy, there's a whole new plot storyline anyways. I think we're going to be seeing a lot of new and great innovative stuff from the Halo franchise. The question that's going to be on a lot of people's minds is, will the multiplayer stack up to what it used to be back in the Halo 2, Halo 3 days, when everyone was playing it, was competitive, and it was a really fun FPS for the shooter genre.
I think that was the only disappointment, that they didn't show any multiplayer or even talk about any of the multiplayer elements, but considering how I can't, being the way that I've played Halo, I can't see it being very difficult for them to screw it up, so I don't know if it will stack up to the way it used to, because I still remember the first 2 Halo multiplayers, and I would play that endlessly. So it's a tough call, but I mean, with the way the single-player campaign looks so far from what I've seen, the way the graphics look, the way the sound looks, I have a feeling that they'll be able to at least come to at par with it. They might even birdie the hole on this one, so we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see when Halo 4 comes out. I believe Q4 of either this year or next.
I think it's already dated.
We'll come up with it later. We'll have it in the show notes for us. But let's move on right into the next game that was shown right after. Kind of came out of left field for both of us. Splinter Cell Blacklist. Now, I've got to say that Sam Fisher seems to be getting younger and younger with every single game that comes out. Seriously, in the first game, they had to pull him out of retirement. Now he's this 34-year-old guy. It was just whatever.
As you said it on Twitter, Benjamin Button Fisher.
Exactly, Benjamin Button Fisher. Now, I got to say, in my own opinion, the kill system, the tag and kill system from Conviction is back in this game. Where you can point at an enemy or 2 enemies, and then you press a button, the game takes control and basically kills those 2 guys for you, and then you roll off into more action.
As they claim, killing in motion is what they called it. Yeah. And it didn't look like a cutscene, and that's something that we don't see too often. The fact that it looks like you're playing the game, except it's doing the little bits for you. And the fact that it doesn't change camera angles, it doesn't do anything special to make it look like it's some whole new mechanic that they're putting in. It literally looks like it's just been part of the game the whole time and just keeps running with it.
It's really fun, and yeah, they do it in a style that makes it feel satisfying. It's just that taking control of the gamer's hands and doing all those things. It would be nice if there was a way. It would be really hard to do, but it would be a nice way that you could do this on your own. I will say though that Splinter Cell Blacklist is more Assassin's Creed-y, if you can even say that as a word, than any other of the games that have been out so far.
Well, I mean, ever since Conviction, they definitely tried to streamline it a little bit because, like Metal Gear Solid and a lot of other stealth games, it's not easy to get casual players into it.
Yeah.
I played Conviction, and I've played the original Splinter Cell. I think I played Double Agent too.
Mm-hmm.
But Conviction, I finished all the way through because it did all those little things to kind of help you. It had all the little keynotes on the wall to help you figure out what you're supposed to do. It also had the shadows to tell you where people think you are currently, so you can flank around that. So I think the fact that they're doing stuff like this, killing in motion, to really give like the not so great players a chance to at least feel like they're really doing a damn good job while playing the game is kind of a good way to really integrate things and getting new players into the series.
Yep.
The other thing that I found interesting that they showed is that they were also showing how they used it with the Kinect. And what they did is they showed, I think he was hanging from a ledge and he said, "Hey, you." And you can literally say that into the mic and it will distract the enemy to come towards you so you can just whip them off it. And even little things like that, that's the kind of little things they need to do with Kinect, not these weird like, say, pull out gun or something like that, like they did with the Mass Effect thing. Nobody uses the Kinect on the Mass Effect 3 deals, especially with the conversations like
Yeah, it's a little awkward with conversations in Mass Effect 3. But I mean, it is kind of the way that Kinect is going. It's not so much it is a motion controller, but the voice commands that are built inside it definitely bringing that little more gameplay to games like Splinter Cell Blacklist. It'll be interesting to see what happens with or Ubisoft's stealth action game. It's just I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. Actually, this was a nice little welcome change, to be honest.
And just because I researched now, Halo 4 is dated for November 6th. That is the official date.
November 6th, okay. So. Yeah, these games, I just gotta say, with graphics in terms of this year's E3, just as a general thing, spectacular looking stuff that's coming out.
You didn't think that they could get any better, and it seems like they're just like, oh yeah, here's this new thing. And we're like, how do you keep doing this every year?
Well, when we get into Sony, we'll talk about Aquatic Dreams' new Beyond Two Souls, and these graphics there. But just as an overarching thing, the graphics have gone we've always talked about the Uncanny Valley on this show, and we're definitely getting up there more and more. But anyways, moving on to the next set of games, EA Sports. It's in the game of character roster updates every single year. I am not a fan of EA Sports' just any sports game entirely. Just like, it's kind of fun to play sometimes. It's just, I'm not a big sports gamer.
The only way that you can really get into these games, honestly, is if you're a big fan of the sport that you're choosing. Mm-hmm. And now that they're finally branching back into NBA Live is making its return this year. Mm-hmm. The only thing that they haven't done now is going back to MVP baseball. They have NHL 13 coming up, FIFA 13, Madden 13, now NBA Live 13. Mm-hmm. You know, EA Sports is getting to that point that I really wish they would take a year off and literally spend 2 years remaking the game from scratch, really improving it. Mm-hmm. But instead, it's the same thing where they add one big new feature into it, and most of the time doesn't end up amounting to anything, and then puts a roster update on it. Mm-hmm. This year, what they showed for Microsoft is they showed their Kinect voice integration that they're doing. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to be honest with you, they really look pointless to me, especially with what they show from FIFA. They were showing how it would make substitutions and tactic changes on the fly. And my first thought is, not too many people who play the game are usually worrying too much about tactics, and if they want to make subs, they'll pause the game. Mm-hmm. What they did for Madden made a little more sense. They had Joe Montana come out, which is pretty cool. I thought it'd be somebody more recent, but whatever. It's not that big a deal.
Yeah.
Joe Montana comes out and starts calling plays and literally saying keywords, like he would call out a certain player or he'd call a certain play out, and they would switch on the fly. That is the kind of thing that does work for Kinect, and especially for hardcore football fans, that will work because it lets them feel like they are literally on the sidelines calling the play every time.
It works a lot more for Madden than any other game. Like, it wouldn't make sense in NHL, definitely wouldn't make sense in Tiger Woods golf or FIFA. But in Madden, in football, it makes sense to be able to call out plays and changes and audibles and all that kind of stuff on the fly with Kinect.
Well, when you think about it in football too, it's always like that. They're always calling out plays. You always hear them yelling, B52, hi! You know, it works. You don't hear somebody out in hockey going, pass, shoot. It's usually, hey, just to call out. That's usually the only thing you hear from them. So for football, it does make sense. And I like that they're doing something that the only funny thing during that presentation is I think Joe Montana thought he was going to do the defensive side too.
Yeah.
Because it looked like he said, okay, let's do it. And then they just started ending, and you can kind of tell him looking, wait, I thought we were doing that. It was weird. But
he was one of the more... He was actually a pretty decent guest, though, when you consider everyone else that's been up there.
We'll get to the better ones later. But.
Yes. But anyways, moving on from EA Sports, we're going to get right into the next one of Fable the Journey. Short trailer, didn't really show too much. This is the first Fable game to not have Peter Molyneux at the head of Lionhead Studios.
And I don't feel it's going to make a difference at this point, considering they decided that the best idea they could do to revive the franchise is an on-rail shooter.
Yeah, this is from what I remember, it's a Kinect-based game.
Which is so much better.
On-rail shooter. It's just, Fable has been a decent RPG. Now, say what you will about everything else, they've just overpromised and under-delivered, but have made a decent product in the end. I don't see much good coming out of this. I think this is just going to be a pass for everyone.
This is going to be I'm going to be more interested to see what the actual sales are, and I think most journalists are going to think the same thing too, because they're thinking, who is going to buy this? Because people are so fed up with Fable right now. Like, the only way that they really could revive themselves is they had to make a new game and really, really work at it. And when they bring out something like this, and when most hardcore gamers have a real issue with the Kinect right now, like, the only games that I've ever played for Kinect and enjoyed so far have been the Kinect sports games. And even then, like, you can't play them very often. I mean, you think the first hardcore game they tried to put out, Rise of Nightmares, was a piece of crap.
Well, the thing is, one thing I'm hoping that these guys are doing is that they're using this to make more capital in terms of their business. That this will be, a stepping stone to whatever next is in the Fable franchise, or next for the entire studio. We'll just have to see what happens, but I can honestly say we're not going to buy it. Maybe someone in the younger demographics, like, say, the 10-year-old kids and up,
because, I mean, they
might
tried Fable Heroes, which was, again, on the iffy side, but I mean... I guess they're trying to get to kids now, considering that they've already pissed off the hardcore generation a little too much. So,
well, let's move on from this. I mean, this is just going to be a pass. We're going to see it go out, and then it might cause some headlines later down in the road, but not for now, I don't think. The next big one was we saw a short trailer for Gears of War Judgment and the Forza Horizon trailer. Another year, another Gears, I gotta say.
I do like that it's People Can Fly are taking this one now, the guys who made Bulletstorm, and for those who remember Painkiller, which was an amazing game.
Yeah.
The only problem with the trailer is they didn't show a thing. Like, it literally just showed, Baird and Cole. It's like, okay, well, we already know this. It leaked.
Yeah.
Show us some gameplay. It really bugs me, and we're going to get onto it later because they bring up some other fitness stuff later. The Gears trailer was 30 seconds, and they left 5 minutes open for this stupid fitness thing. Gears of War has been one of their best-selling games, one of their best exclusives, and they don't give it any time. Forza Horizon got more time, and Forza Horizon is going to be an open-world racing game, which hasn't really worked.
No, it hasn't. And, I mean, we're going to get into it later, but Need for Speed, what was it? Most Wanted is doing the exact same thing as Forza. For racing games, it hasn't worked right yet, but there is a kind of space. Forza has always been part of the simulation, part of giving you these real life cars and making you race them and have some fun with it. There is a kind of need for that to be around because the last Gran Turismo game, I mean, it's PS3 exclusive, but it's been a while since we had a game like that. Judgment. Yeah, there should have been some more, but I can imagine that they're still working on the game. There might be some some things they need to work out with it. And to be honest, I can see Nike paying for a larger spot at E3 than, say, Epic Games or People Can Fly. True. Yeah. But we'll move on from the next thing. The Kinect is now going to be supporting 12 new languages. There's a bunch of new stuff in terms of the Xbox experience, the system updates. There's going to be new partners like Nickelodeon, Paramount, Machinima, Univision in Mexico. There's also a bunch of sports stuff. Now, you're the more sports guy than I am, Adam, so I'll let you take care of that.
Well, they're going to add a bunch of things because they already have ESPN for the Americans. We have MLB TV right now here in Canada. They're also going to be adding NBA Game Time and NHL Game Center. And the ESPN coverage they're already doing on Xbox for the Americas, they're going to be 24/7 now. You're going to see everything from Sports Center to Pardon the Interruption, all the programs that you're used to seeing on ESPN, especially when TSN takes the feeds too. You know, I think that's great for sports fans because now I think they already have NFL too. Yeah, because they have it with ESPN, of course, and so they have NCAA football. Now, especially Americans with ESPN, they have pretty much every sport, and if they want to pay, they can watch any game at any time on their Xbox now without having to go to their TV, and that is great news.
Like I was saying to Adam on Twitter, basically, if you are a sports guy, you know, having an Xbox or a PlayStation 3 that has some of this stuff as well, and if you want to be a cord cutter, like getting rid of cable and all that stuff, your gaming system is now you want to buy into hockey, baseball, basketball, your a la carte options when you don't want to have, you know, all of the other sports programs.
With all the other E3s, we're going to be talking about all the other consoles, not other E3s, other press conferences.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking about all the other consoles and what they've done. And every console now is pretty much going with YouTube, with Hulu, with Amazon. All these places are going to start taking every major media outlet and using it. And that is great news for the gaming industry because they're going to slowly chip away at TV revenue, which means the industry is going to have to start taking us for granted and taking us seriously because we're going to start being everything that we could ever want to be.
Yep, exactly. We're going to see a lot of different things change in our industry real soon with all the new changes that are coming to both Xbox and Sony as well, just because they're a big player in this. We're going to briefly touch on Xbox Music. You were unimpressed with it, Adam. Zune Music has always been kind of like a wishy-washy kind of thing.
I haven't touched Zune.
I haven't met a person that uses the service, just because, like, why would you buy music on your console? It doesn't make a lot of sense right now. Kind of cool if you want to have like that as your DJ system, but if you have a laptop, you're already much better than having an Xbox.
I mean, honestly, from what I saw, it looks like they're trying to almost be like iTunes.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, but I think people, especially Sony and Microsoft and all these other companies, they need to realize they are going to have to do so much more to compete with iTunes and iPods. It's very, very difficult.
The only thing right I could say against that is that the Xbox Music will be the Zune Music anyways will be integrated with Windows 8 tablet, Windows 8 phone, and the Windows 8 operating system. And like we've seen with Xbox Smart Glass, which I think we're going to do right after this, it really integrates all three together, and that's where I can see this actually being a really big thing. So yeah, what we're going to talk about now is the Xbox Smart Glass in the unique way that they're going with it. Just to give you a brief rundown, what they want to have is basically your tablet, be it a Windows tablet, which I think will work a lot better, or an Android or an iOS tablet. You'll be able to use it with your Xbox, and basically either you can do things, use it as a controller to do fancy things with, we saw Halo 4, we saw a lot of sports games like Madden or NHL. You can basically change rosters, do a lot of coaching stuff in those games. With the Halo one, we saw a lot of you can look around and basically get different little cutscenes, little updates to the mission, little background stuff. It's kind of a cool thing to have. Basically, this kind of integration with all your smart tablets, your smart devices, to basically go around and have that kind of base station with your Xbox to do whatever you want to do, really.
I mean, from what I saw, I think it's a great idea. My only worry is, especially when they were showing off how it might integrate with like Halo or other games, I feel like it's almost going to be a distraction in some ways.
Yes.
Because like how they were showing how you can use Halo as you can use the tablet or whatever to show off points in the game and have waypoint things pop up. I'm sitting there thinking, you might as well just pause the game every little while if you're going to do that, because especially in a game like Halo, you need to be focused and intense all the time. Yeah. To suddenly stop and pick up your tablet and start scanning the screen doesn't make sense to me.
Well, the thing is, they brought up really good points where you do, like when you're sitting down playing a game, you have all these devices around you. It's only kind of making sense that you have some kind of connection with your games. I will say that this kind of leads more into the Microsoft Windows side of things with Windows 8 tablet, basically being able to integrate all your devices together. That's going to be just something that Microsoft's going to be doing with their next operating system. One of the cool things they brought out, though, was when they were talking about Sherlock Game of Shadows. Adam's dying because he just choked on some water. He's just going down.
I'm okay.
They brought up Sherlock Holmes, and basically they brought up on their tablet. You can watch it on your tablet, and then you can put it onto your Xbox, and it'll play from there. But then once you put it on your Xbox, your tablet turns into this kind of like IMDb page of awesomeness, where it shows you the casting, it shows you the setting, notes from the actual shooting, any kind of trivia or stuff like that, which is really kind of cool. It gives you, it leads more into like a very rich media experience. Which is kind of nice if you're rewatching a movie for like the second time. I can't say for the first time. If you're watching it, it would be more distracting than it would be beneficial.
Like I said, as long you can do it for games that are really slow paced. You can do it for movies, but in a fast paced game like Halo or Call of Duty or anything like that, don't put it in there because we need to be focused. We want to be focused, and we want the intensity to not stop. Mm-hmm. If we have to stop to check a list of things just to be curious, we can stop playing the game and go on Wikipedia or whatever wiki page has been made for that game, because pretty much every game has one now. We can do that on our own time. We don't need to do it right in the middle of the game. And if we really do want to do it, like I said, we can pause it and search it. I don't feel you need it for something to that extent. For a film, absolutely. But
I will say that I had an idea and I forgot what it was.
Brian Best, ladies and gentlemen.
Genius! Yeah, no, it's going to be interesting to see what they do with Smart Glass. It's kind of Microsoft's. I can see what the Xbox execs were going through. They sat down last year at E3. They saw the Wii U come out with that new controller, and were just like, "Hey, people are going to want something like as an answer to having a controller in your hands that has a screen. Why don't we do this for the tablets? We got Windows 8 coming out. Why don't we do something for that?"
Because it's not like the Wii U looks like a tablet.
Oh no, of course not. Yeah. So,
but anyways, after that, we already skipped. Nike Plus is working with Kinect now, and they're going to have basically their own fitness thing. It looks cool. It reminds me of UFC's trainer, which is a lot more hard nosed. Like, I have both Your Shape and UFC trainer. Mm-hmm. Your Shape is way too easy. It really doesn't bust you like UFC does. So I get the feeling with Nike Plus, it was built for athletes to begin with, so to have this come out, it's going to be something to really go for people who really want to burn. But anyway, after Smart Glass, they brought out what else is coming on Xbox, and we already reported this, but they showed off what Internet Explorer is going to look like on it.
And it looks really cool because Smart Glass will work with it, and you can use your tablet as a keyboard, which I thought that's how you do browsing on a game console.
Exactly.
That is how it happens.
And they showed off a little bit. They showed off ProjectPrometheus.com, which is, of course, the site for the movie.
Prometheus?
Did I say Prometheus?
Yes.
Prometheus. Thank you. You can tell how good I am at this. Yeah. Anyway, but they showed, of course, the trailer of the movie itself. And little things like that. I wish they would have shown something that would have been a little more text-based, like something like, say, I don't know, like even show, well, I guess they have the Facebook app, like, I guess maybe an email account or something like that. Just something as simple as that, because showing us the site, all it showed was just pictures, like it was just showing out the video. I don't want to see that. I want to see the actual screen. Mm-hmm. So it kind of worries me seeing that at the same time, too, that it's not going to show us literally what the internet page looks like. It was showing pretty rich, like, HTML5 and some Flash stuff as well with the cars that they showed. Like, they brought up some car page. Yeah, no, pretty cool. I thought, I think this is going to blow everything out of the, like, in terms of Microsoft and Nintendo's browsers. Because, even like the DS and the Wii have had internet browsers, but they've been terrible to use. They don't have certain Hang on a second. This is maybe the only time in my life that I'll ever recommend that Internet Explorer is the best on one system. Because I wouldn't use it on my PC. I wouldn't use it on my PC. I would use... I don't know, I'm trying to think. I don't use Firefox either, but apparently people like Firefox, so I guess I can't use that as the button of the Firefox? Chrome? Either one. Even Safari. Like, I have Safari on my Windows, and it still works fine until it started screwing up, so now it's Chrome.
But yeah, no, I mean, a lot of stuff was like, I gotta say, there's more system stuff for Xbox than any of the other. Well, there's more system stuff for Xbox than there is for Sony this E3, and I really like the stuff they're doing with Last. I can't wait to see what they do with it in the future. Internet Explorer being another extension of that.
All right, so get a hold of your socks, people. This is where it gets exciting.
Oh no,
because we're gonna knock your socks off.
Okay, socks are being knocked off.
Tomb Raider was next on the list. I will start by saying that I have never liked Tomb Raider as a series. I thought Lara Croft was nothing but a bimbo and became nothing but a bimbo because you know how gamers were back then. It was all about big boobs and big asses. No offense, it's still kind of the same thing now, but at least now they can have a personality. Mm-hmm. This game blew my mind. The trailer was gritty. It was dark. She was screaming in pain for a lot of it because literally she's bouncing around like nobody's business. She's getting the crap knocked out of her. And she's taking it and keeping on going. Mm-hmm. This is probably one of the biggest surprises that I've had for a revitalization of a series. I have never liked Tomb Raider. I don't know how they're going to deal with puzzles or not because right now, of course, we're just showing the survival aspect. We don't know if there's going to be the same climb and jump puzzles that we always used to see. We don't know if we're even going to get to go in like really fancy ruins or anything, if there's going to be even any adventure part of it or if it's just simply an escape. But I have to say, I am so happy for Square Enix that they're taking on a project and actually doing good with it for a change.
This game looks beautiful. It's fantastic looking, but I gotta say, and I had an argument with someone on Twitter about this. They had said that, way to go, Square, for ripping off Uncharted. And I'm just like, hang on a second. Lara Croft has been raiding tombs since the early 90s. What are you talking about? The guy comes back and says, you know, look at the game, look at the style of the game, look at how these big chases are happening, and the person is like, Laura's almost dying in some of these cases. Isn't this really familiar of what Uncharted's been doing for the past couple of games?
To be fair, as we're going to keep discovering as we go further down the list today, there's a lot of rip-offs.
Yes.
A lot of obvious rip-offs. I mean, you know, PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale is not a rip-off at all, but anyway. To me, that's not necessarily a bad thing, though, is it? Uncharted's been really popular, so why not? Mm. I mean, it's not obviously copying it to the full extent, because the woman's the female character, and she isn't a bitch this time. But to be fair, even if it is copying it, who cares? It's going to be a good game. Just shut up and enjoy it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I gotta say, it will be a very interesting... Like, it's going to be a nice story. It's going to be... It's very fun. And you know what? Xbox has been missing that kind of really nice action-adventure gameplay, like Uncharted. We really need that Indiana Jones. And to be honest, I'm really feeling missing a lot of Indiana Jones action right now. I think we need this game a lot more than we know.
I think we do. Okay, so we're going to breeze through a few things because there was a lot of really random crap that didn't make any sense. Ascend New Gods, made by the same guy who made Toy Soldiers. It looks like, another fantasy, slash and dash kind of game. Whatever. Yep. Loco Cycle, made by Twisted Pixel. They didn't show anything. They just showed a Tron-like motorcycle, and that was it. Mm-hmm. What the hell? Matter coming out. I can't remember who it's by, but it looks almost like it's Marble Madness on almost like a steampunkish, 3D Tron kind of way.
None of these games blew me out of the water.
None of these games did anything. They really didn't look like anything. I mean, no one cares. But then Resident Evil 6 came.
Yes.
So everything was fine again.
Resident Evil 6 is probably the game I'm most looking forward to this year. Now, say what you will, I'm a really, really big Resident Evil fan since Resident Evil 4.
Just admit 5 was really bad.
5 was terrible. 5 just sucked.
As long as we can get that out of the way, I'm good.
Yeah, but I have gone back and tried to play Resident Evil, the original, and it's just, they used to do horror really, really well. And you know what, I'm thinking, we're not seeing a return to form, but we are definitely seeing a return to a better gameplay like we saw in Resident Evil 4, not so much in Resident Evil 5.
It definitely looks like the controls are a lot easier, because, I mean, I've always hated the shooting in Resident Evil, because I know you don't want to make it too easy that you can pop off heads like nobody's business, but you can't make it impossible to aim either.
No, you can't.
When they call it survival horror, you're not supposed to be able to survive because you're outnumbered or you're outmatched. Mm-hmm. Not because you can't shoot. You are a star. You can shoot.
Yeah. The game is... it looks very cinematic. It's play between Leon and Chris Redfield. As well as there's a couple other players that they didn't show in this trailer, but it looks really, really fun and fast-paced. I gotta say that what has to happen after this is that this has to be the end of the current plot, the current story for the overarching franchise. I don't know, Resident Evil. It's going to be fun. It's one of the games I'm looking forward to this year. But I gotta say, the next thing that came after Resident Evil, Racketeer, completely the worst segue. I mean, I made some pretty bad segues in my life, but holy crap, this was bad. This is a kids game that came out right after Resident Evil 6 that basically is Angry Birds meets basically 3D anyways, taken to the three-dimensional plane.
That was probably... There were a lot of awkward moments, and we'll get to one later in Sony's, which actually, two that were really awkward, but this was extremely awkward because we're all psyched and ready for a horror survival game, and then all of a sudden, kids time!
Yeah, it was definitely out of left field in terms of where it came in the keynote. This is going to be another one of those games that we're just going to float over and not really even consider.
To be fair, with what else is on the list, it wouldn't have really made sense to put anything else in front of it.
True.
Although, we get to the best moment after Racketeer, South Park, The Stick of Truth. Now, let me explain why this was better. Matt Stone and Trey Parker came out to advertise the game, and they did something that nobody else in the performance did. They didn't read off a prompter, and it was very obvious that they didn't read off a prompter. They even made fun of the fact that people have been reading off a prompter, and they even made fun of their own thing, saying, well, we had to make this game look as exactly and as crappy as it always has been, and look at what they've done. And they're taking shots at themselves. They, and I will say this later, they were the best performers at E3 this year, at any of the press conferences, without a shadow of a doubt. And mind you, there weren't too many big guests, but Matt Stone and Trey Parker, two of the funniest guys on the planet right now. And even the game itself, I'm really excited for, because you're going to try to be the fifth kid of the group of four. You're going to be the new kid, which is going to be interesting because you don't know. Maybe we'll be able to customize them, which will be great. Have your own South Park entity, which will be really fun.
Yes, and the graphics in here are stunning, absolutely riveting, to be honest.
What they said, it was funny too. They're like, dude, we had to do a scene where we have to go from Cartman's house to Kyle's house, and we had to think about it for a second. Where's Kyle's house? And then you got to go to the school. Well, where's the school? It's little things like that I love. But what it also kills me is when we finish that and we basically go to the massive buzzkill that is Usher in Dance Central 3.
Wow, this was just a really weird performance that just came out. Well, there's nothing really else to premiere Dance Central, but Usher coming out, I don't know.
I think most people forgot that he existed, actually, because he's kind of been disappearing on and off lately.
Yeah.
But the performance was also kind of awkward because his voice, I don't know if he was trying to lip sync or if he really was singing while he was dancing, and it sounded like crap.
Well, to be honest, he was singing, but I don't think he's ever sung and danced that hard up on that stage, or maybe he just didn't have enough prep time to go into this.
It was interesting.
It was interesting, but I'm pretty sure Usher came out on top of this. He's probably going to make more money than actual Dance Central.
I'm sure he's making some...
just off this presentation alone, he's going to make more money than the game.
And we had the argument earlier because you were bitching about it.
I hate rhythm games. I thought we were done with this crap.
Here's the thing, and as much as I hate to admit it, it still sells. It is the one thing that is still selling because Rockman and Guitar Hero died. The only thing that's left is dancing. Now, this will be a common theme later as well because Just Dance 4 keeps appearing later in other promotions, and I just do not care. You're going to hear us just say Just Dance 4 next, and we'll skip on to something else. You'll hear this very often in our very many parts of this. But last but not least, we came to the final conclusion. I think a lot of people were expecting a big surprise at the end.
Yeah.
But I think it's because we were hyping it up because of Halo 4's reappearance last year at E3. But I can't think of anything better to end off with than Black Ops 2.
Yeah, Black Ops 2 looks really good, and to be honest, like I've said on the show before, I'm not a fan of COD. I don't like the Call of Duty franchise anymore since Modern Warfare 2, but this looks really fun.
And to be fair, it's because Infinity Ward doesn't know how to make anything but Modern Warfare. When you put something in the hands of Treyarch, as we saw with Black Ops, as we saw with World at War, they take something and they do a damn good job with it. And as we've seen with Black Ops 2, even the HUD looks completely different from what we're used to seeing.
The HUD, the storyline looks pretty, it's, for an FPS, it looks more interesting than, say, the most run-of-the-mill, Russians are invading again.
It's about, I think it's China who's going to be the big...
big thing.
Which makes sense, because they are the coming powerhouse. But there are other little things that they take in this future. I think it's in 2025.
Yes.
There is a female president. I love that.
That
as George Carlin said, God has to be a male because a woman would never let things screw up as much as they have.
Yeah.
A woman, like, I was kind of sad seeing Barack Obama, and I'm not going to get too political, but I thought Hillary Clinton would have made a much better president. But, you know, the fact that they're doing a female president in Black Ops is really saying something.
To be honest, she sounds a lot like Hillary Clinton, but she looks like President Rosalind from Battlestar Galactica. I'm just like, yeah, not a bad, mishmash of stuff. I like the kind of storyline they showed. They showed, like, you have different choices that you can make. They showed one scene on a highway where you can either choose to rappel down with the president and like a bunch of your squad mates, or you can cover them on top with a sniper rifle. And they showed like a really cool sniper rifle that shoots through walls. You can see an X-ray vision stuff, which was pretty cool. I like to see all this stuff. It's very interesting. Anyways,
the other two things I'll say before we finish up. I love how they're putting branching choices. They showed it in the gameplay demo that there's a point where you're trying to defend the president, and you have two choices. You can either snipe, or you can rappel down for close combat. That is great. It lets people play the style they want to play. I'm a better sniper than I am with really close combat. I'm not great with SMGs, so that works for me. The other part is they have you fly a jet. As much as it's probably ripping off BF3 because they really like the fighter jet sequence from there, I'm okay with that because you know what? It looks good. The auto-targeting system, I mean, it makes sense. You know, we're in 2025. There's going to be some flying.
Yeah. It's very, like, they make it very, very easy from what it looks like. There's not going to be a lot of control you're going to have too much with the jet. But it is going to be kind of like, it's a fun mix-up of stuff. Because, I mean, that's one of the things been missing for Call of Duty. I mean, like, you've always had the, you know, HC-130, machine gun sequences where you could shoot down and stuff. But you never had control of an actual flying vehicle, which is going to be pretty cool. But anyways, let's wrap it up with our winners and losers of Microsoft's keynote. So you go first, Adam, since you got your stuff in front of you. I don't have mine yet.
I'll just go with what my top three was, because I have a massive list here. Number 3 was Black Ops 2. I like the fact that, you know, they didn't go away from what they said. I don't care that people don't like it. 2 was Splinter Cell, because it came out of left field, surprised the hell out of us. I love what it's showing off so far. And, of course, number 1, without a doubt, Tomb Raider. My losers, 3rd was Gears of War, and because they got the 30-second spot, I think they needed more time. Racketeer was number 2 because it was such an awkward timing, and it really didn't hit anything. And first, Kinect. I am sick and tired of seeing Kinect being integrated into everything because it's just straight up not working.
Yeah. I'll have to agree with you on some of your points, especially with your losers. That's exactly what I would have said. Kinect, there is potential for it. It's just that we're not seeing it yet, and I think it's a technology thing. We're going to have to wait for it to get better and better. However, my top 5, my top 3, Tomb Raider, Splinter Cell Blacklist, and Resident Evil 6, I'm putting up the top because it's different from everything else we saw. To be honest, I could interchange it with Splinter Cell Blacklist just because that brought out a lot of cool things that I haven't seen in stealth action for since Conviction. But Resident Evil 6, I want to see the end of the storyline. I want to see the end of that franchise, and well, I'm just hoping it's the end for this plot. But anyways, it looks really fun. And that was E3 for Microsoft, eh?
So we will see you for part 2, which will be Electronic Arts, which I will warn you ahead of time. I will probably rage a little bit for, so stay tuned for that. It's going to be fun.
It will be fun. Thanks for joining us on Downloadable Opinions. Downloadable Opinions. Downloadable Opinions. Downloadable Opinions.